of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on September 10th, 2024 and September 8th, 2024, posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet, newspapers, the Record and the Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcast on local TV and online at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporeal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all of the members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Ms. Briar Khan. Byers Kang.
Here.
Ms. Colbert.
Try that one again?
Ms. Colbert.
No water in it.
Colbert.
Hot shower, cold bath without the D.
Thank you.
Try it one more
Ms.
time.
Colbert.
There you go.
All right,
Right
there you
here.
go. Ms. Curry.
Here.
Mr. Knight. Here. Ms. Ko-Tang.
Here.
Mr. Lopez. Here. Ms. Morrell. Morel.
Close enough. Not gonna let that one go.
All right. Ms. Morel.
Yep.
Mr. Rubino.
Here.
And Ms. Richter.
Here. The board will be convening to executive session to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. The board will reconvene into public session at approximately 7:30 p.m. I have a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Motion Morale, second Rubino, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are now in executive session.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we continue, I would just like to ask everyone to please join in a moment of silence to remember the tragic events that took place 1 year ago today in Israel, all of the victims of that day, and all those impacted by the ongoing events in that region over this past year. Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on September 8th, 2024 and September 10th, 2024 in the Record and the Star Ledger, posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspaper, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcasted on local TV and online at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporeal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all of the members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Ms. Byers Kang.
Here.
Ms. Colbert.
Here.
Ms. Curry.
Here.
Mr. Knight. Here. Ms. Ko-Tang.
Here.
Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Ms. Morel.
Here.
Mr. Rubino.
Here.
Ms. Richter.
Here. The board convened executive session at 6:30 p.m. to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. Dr. Kravitz, will you begin by sharing the superintendent's report?
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank everyone for being here this evening as well as on Zoom. Welcome to Michael Steinmetz, our new business administrator this evening as we start our school year. I would also like to thank Sophie Reimers and Kate, from the high school for joining us this evening to give us an update, so please do at this moment.
Hello, my name is Sophie Reimers, and I'm co-president of Fort Lee High School Student Council. And I'm Kate Eno, and I'm also the co-president of the Fort Lee Student Council. On September 20th, the high school hosted a pep rally where all fall senior athletes, band members, and color guard members were recognized. The event concluded with a class relay race won by the junior class, thanks to the teachers who participated but came in last place. Our varsity volleyball team won a tri-county tournament championship. The following students have been selected as semifinalists in the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Competition: Nicola Antich, Noah Kim, Aaron O, and Yvette Sam. A select group of seniors will take the NJGPA's regular school day for all students. The marching band performed at the senior night football game on Friday, October 4th. The band's first competition will be Saturday, October 12th at MetLife Stadium. Congratulations to all students who took AP courses and exams last year, and the teachers who taught the courses at our high school, as we earned the AP Honors Roll Silver Distinction. The PSAT/NMSQT will be administered on Wednesday, October 23rd to all students in grades 11 and 10. These students should report at regular time. Students in grade 9 and 12 have a delayed opening on this day and should report to school no later than 9:45 a.m. On October 24th, members of the SAG Club will attend the symposium of Rebecca Ferreira Foundation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, a few updates. I would like to remind everyone that this is the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month. We wish everyone happy celebrations for that. A few updates for the Special Education Parents Advisory Group, which is open to all special needs parents, as well as parents of students with 504s. Our first meet and greet, or actually our first informative session, is October 16th at 20 this year. In the intermediate school at 7 p.m. Please come out. We are excited. We have Nicole Freed coming to speak to the parents regarding special needs students and programs. So, and our new special needs director will be there as well. So I welcome everyone to come out to our CPAC meeting of the year. Please know in the agenda this evening an appointment for our new social media club that I know the board has spoken about at the high school, which in the public relations committee we discussed. We also are proud to announce that we have 4 semi-finalists in the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Competition. There was a request from some of the parents not to include their names, so just to be fair, but I just wanted to mention there were 4 national semi-finalists. As an update to our teaching, we do have all of our staff. We are working on some leave replacements as they come. I remind everyone that these are very hard positions to fill, as we are competing with other districts for non-permanent positions. So the teacher who comes in as a leave replacement, once they find a tenure track position, they immediately try to go to that. In essence, we have to either guarantee them a position or hope that they would stay. Also, there has been some questions regarding busing, and I just want to give you an update as we're looking into that information. So we run 8 buses every day, and those routes include special needs routes. They include the routes from one building to another building. The drivers work approximately 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. There has been other requests for routes, and as we're trying to figure out if we can do that and how we would manage that. So understand that some of our routes end at around 2:45 to 3:15. Those drivers who do return early are then dispatched to the high school for our gate. So as an example for today, we had a 3:15 departure for the varsity, junior varsity soccer team to go to Cliffside Park. We had a 3:15 departure for Dumont High School for our volleyball teams, for the freshmen, junior varsity, and varsity, going to, as I said, Dumont High School. And then we had the second group in that same group of students going to Dumont Lincoln School. So while the bus is going to both places, it's dividing up. And those students have to be picked up back at 4:30. We had another bus leaving at 3:15, JV football going to Kearney High School. And we had a meet at 1:30. We took a bus going to Darlington County Park for the Big North Championship for the cross-country team. So while they're still running our buses, and all drivers finish at 4 o'clock unless they're staying extra for those events. We did get some quotes to what it would take to hire another bus company to do that, anywhere from $88 per hour to $100 per hour if they had drivers available in that same 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock range. So that's what we're looking into again, and looking at all of that data, recognizing that we have, budgets and we're running our payroll to make sure we're all in our budget range. And speaking of, goals and objectives and education and everything, which is great. I would like to congratulate school number 3 for being a National Blue Ribbon Award winner. Since this is a multi-year process, kudos to Jay Berman, Sharon Amato, Vivica Williams, the teachers, the staff, parents, our assistant superintendent, Diane Cayasso, and of course the entire Fort Lee community and all of you for making that happen. We're very proud of the achievement, and it's a wonderful thing. So congratulations to everyone. Have a great month of October, and we'll see everyone in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any committee reports?
So I have one. The policy committee met last Thursday. Present, Amy, Kristen, Holly, Diane, Dr. Kravitz, and our legal counsel, Lester Taylor, and his new colleague, Jay. The entire focus was the district's eligibility policy for enrolling students and residents and non-residents. It's policy 5111. And there were some changes last year in the law, and the district is in the process of fine-tuning the paperwork and the disclosures that we make on these issues. It will appear, I believe, probably on the next agenda, the policy changes, and obviously the paperwork will not, but letters, forms that we require when we enroll students are being updated.
Okay, thank you. Any other committee reports? Just before we go into the board comments, I want to mention that we have 2 walk-on resolutions, 6B and 7B. 6B reads, therefore be it resolved, the Fort Lee Board of Education hereby disenrolls the following non-resident student from Fort Lee Public Schools. Student 1582-593920, and that is grade 3 in one of our elementary schools. And 7B, therefore be it resolved, the Fort Lee Board of Education hereby disenrolls the following non-resident student from Fort Lee Public Schools. Student 4619-583763, and that is high school grade 11. Do board members have questions or comments on tonight's agenda or any other topic?
Yes, I think.
Go ahead.
Comments regarding 5C and R on the agenda. Some time ago, the Equity Committee met and gave updates on topic relating to the professional development pertaining to this specific agenda item. But I think there was some confusion as parents posted away from this meeting and on social media, and there's a lot of confusion. So I just wanted to reiterate and give some context around this item.
Okay.
So the professional development on the cultural competency and culturally responsive practices to the school-based INRST, which is Intervention and Referral Services Teams. It is a state mandate. It was mandated by the states that the district need to take action to remedy this disproportionality in our district. So what happens is every year the New Jersey Department of Education comes to our school and measures this proportionality in areas such as discipline and special education. And for 3 years in a row, our district was flagged or has identified this proportionality in our district in specific learning disability area, in that one subgroup is overrepresented. So this proportionality in this context refers to the occurrence when there is overrepresentation from a particular group who are experiencing a given situation. That we will expect the group to be represented against the general population. And so we triggered this proportionality threshold for 3 years in a row. And so the district is required to allocate 15% of our Individual with Disability Act funding to address the underlying causes of this proportionality. And Fort Lee must enter into a 3-year process to address this. In year 1, 2023 to 2024, so this is prior to my joining the board, under thankfully, under the leadership of Ms. Baker and Mr. Casey, who was the chair of the equity committee at the time, we started this process. And the first year, a team of educators and administrators attended a series of workshops to learn how this threshold is calculated, the basic definitions, and what biases are, what tier support can we provide to our staff. So 2023 and 2024 was year one, 2020. This year is year number 2, where we have additional staff from our intervention and referral service team, which is the initial you see in the agenda, INRS team, attend the workshop, these professional development workshop. And the funding for these programs, for these workshops, are funded 100% by our individual with disability ed funding. So none of this is paid out of our general account. It's a grant funded initiative, and it's an investment to correct some of this proportionality in the district. The district has considered a number of providers and have narrowed down to our current partner in this professional development. He is recommended and has been giving this similar workshops to other districts in the state. So that's the context of this agenda item for anyone who is unfamiliar with. Thank you.
Could I just ask a couple questions on what was just said? So is there some order from the state that when I hear state mandate, are we just talking generally? Or did Fort Lee, based on bad numbers, get some specific direction from the state that it needed to do something?
So Fort Lee has been recognized that in a specific subgroup, which is our Hispanic population, 3.8 times the other subgroups in our district, the Spanish population is classified as SLD, which is specific learning disorder. So in comparison to the other subgroups in the district, that subgroup gets classified with that classification more than any other. As a result of consistency in that area, the state has said you must do something. The first step in that was to attend, which we had to send a group of people to Rutgers to meet the person who runs the equity lab at Rutgers and listen to how you understand the data and what to look at. That's the first part of it. The next part is we have to take action, which is create an action plan. The action plan consisted of reaching out to people who would be able to follow up with that, and which we chose the individual on the agenda this evening, Dr. Fergus at Rutgers, who was also the presenter for the state during these programs, not open to just Fort Lee, but to everyone in the state who was in the same, if they fell into a category that they determined.
So the program is specifically because our district, it's the Hispanic population we have in special education.
Who are classified as LD, which is specific learning disorder, more than 3.8 times more than any other subgroup in our district.
Right, but it's limited to that particular population. It's not that, because I've looked at some of the materials and I looked at the gentleman's book, and it talks about other populations, but this is being recommended to address an issue that we have with disproportionality with Hispanics, with SLD and IEPs and 504s.
So almost there. Let me just change a little bit the last part of your wording to identify the Hispanic population, because this district, compared to other subgroups, classifies Hispanics with an SLD classification.
Okay.
Right, so there are multiple classes. OHI is another one, other health impaired. In this district, SLD classification is 3.8 times greater for the Hispanic population than any other subgroup in our district.
And then I understood that because this comes with a pretty big price tag on it, $43,500, and we've got an issue with the playground at School 1, And we've got, our scoreboard that people keep complaining about, things that $43,000 could remedy all of those in a week.
So this
Let
month,
me just finish, because I just heard, even though this is a state issue, the disproportionality, we are mandated by law to use 15% of our IDA money, okay, which is a federally funded bucket of money. And how much do we get each year? I know that we don't get the full funding that we should. No district does under the IDEA. But what did we get last year? Like $300,000? It's over a million. Okay, so we're now that money that was being supporting our special education programs, how many years are we required to use? So we have to spend at least $150,000, right, each year, just on this disproportionality Hispanic issue.
Yes.
Okay, and for how many years?
So it's a 3-year, but
So last year, did we use IDEA funds, to address this Hispanic issue?
So right now, it's a 3-year, the state allows us 3 years to remedy the disproportionality. But each year, we need to submit an action plan. So the action plan that we submitted was for this year. And then in the spring, we'll have to submit another one. It is a brand new process. This is the first time we've had to submit an action plan. But each year you have to allocate that amount of money to address disproportionality.
Okay, and in the action plan, is that something that we approved or?
No, doesn't require board approval.
Okay, and did anyone look at, so the money, we have no choice. So this thing, he could have said $100,000 and we have to find ways to spend 15% of the $1 million.
Correct.
And solely on this particular issue. Because it seems like an imbalance there, and I understand disproportionality, but to require such a heavy use of our IDEA when special education costs, like we can't, we send children out of district and we don't have enough to do the types of things that we really would like to do with them. You're saying the program, okay. Is it only PD that we can use the 150, or can classroom supports be part of the solution?
So we're using the funds on various services. Professional development is one of them, but not just professional development in this topic. We have our early elementary interventionists. They were trained in Martin Gillingham. They will be delivering Martin Gillingham instruction to students in need. We are also training, because we found that most of our classifications occur at the elementary level, we are focusing there. And we are also training elementary teachers on small group instruction in literacy, because most of the challenges that these students are presenting are in literacy. So we are allocating, as well as resources for the classrooms. So we are allocating that funding towards different methods of attacking this issue.
Can it go for staffing? Can the money be used for staffing to put another set of hands in a classroom?
It can be used for staffing.
It can. And do we intend to use any of the 15% allocated to this issue for staffing?
Not this year, we did in the past, but what we found is that with the staff member that we were allocating the salary to, it wasn't mitigating the problem.
And has anyone met Dr. Fergus?
Yes, a team of us have met Dr. Fergus.
And did anyone, since his book, Desegregating Ourselves, which, is, you can read reviews and everything on it, that's the basis of the training that we're getting. Can you explain to me, first of all, did anyone read the book that is going to be the anchor text for the work that he's going to do here? And just explain to me how that book and its ideology and everything
addresses the very discrete, unique problem that we're trying to address, because I don't know, the money seems really like huge for me. So maybe if you could just kind of
I'll adjust the
put that link together.
I'm sorry, Paul, to be clear, you reference to.
I'm asking an administrator who went and met with the gentleman.
No, you said the whole workshop is hinged on this book, but.
No,
on the
what I did
description.
was, what I said was, I read from it, okay? The proposal says that desegregating ourselves, I use the expression, that is the anchor text, okay? It's cited in the first paragraph, so I just want to know, they're highlighting it in the first paragraph. Did anyone read it, and how is his ideology, how does it marry with what we're trying to accomplish in this very discrete subgroup?
I'm sorry, I don't see it in
Right,
the.
Amy, let Dr.
My
Tavish
question isn't
and-
directed to you.
Okay,
So,
they're
so
answering
as
your
far as the
question.
financial component, I'll just answer that. So the number of people that will be attending all of the INRS teams, intervention and referral teams, intervention and referral, services, thank you. Teams in every building. So we have 7 teams, approximately 5 people. It's a combination of people in every team. So there are about 35 people who will meet a total of 6, how many times are they meeting?
Nine sessions.
Nine sessions. So, right, so, right, so if you divide that number up, it's about $800 per person, which is a normal training. Is it 100 per person?
It's 800 an hour.
800 an hour
I mean,
over the
800,
people.
it's,
So it's concise it's consistent with other trainings for this. As far as the session itself, I did not attend, but I know Diane attended the session. Why don't you describe the session, that's what he's
So
doing.
it goes into the history of disproportionality, and it talks about developing culturally responsive practices in your intervention services and how you identify students in need of intervention. I understand that the contract is linked to the book. We did not dive into that entire book in the professional development. It was pretty much to give a historical background, but if you look at the appendices in the book, it speaks to cultural competency and being able to address gaps perhaps in cultural understanding. And so the entire book is not the focus of the professional development. Actually, when I did speak with Dr. Fergus, we talked about not focusing on the entire book and perhaps just using certain applicable excerpts from the book at presentations, but not reading the entire, it's not a book that will be read cover to cover. He may reference it in his training.
I mean, he says that you'll be reading several chapters
I know.
in various
So
sessions.
we actually had a conversation about that because I was, concerned about professionals and being assigned readings and things like that. That's not going to be a component of the training, but he may use excerpts from the book in presentations such as data and statistics and information like that.
And why do we think that this particular provider is the best to meet our specific need?
So he was the one who was recommended by the state for anyone who falls into a disproportionality concern. The state is recommending Dr. Ferguson to go to his sessions.
Department of Education.
Correct. So that's why the district went, because they sent us a letter saying, they said, here's you need to go to this. And then from there, develop an action plan. So our thought was, well, if everyone is going to this individual, why not utilize him? The presentation, from what I was told by the administrators that went, there were several principals from the district as well as others. They thought it was fantastic to discuss it. And to your point about, sending students out, this is the idea of we don't want to send them out. We want to identify what difficulties they're having and making a teacher culturally responsive. So it's understanding those differences in cultures. So if you're asking as an intervention to go read with your kids and they're unable to, what other interventions are you doing, recommending, so that we don't have that concern anymore? That's what we're looking at.
And do we know of any other Bergen County school districts who have had him present and work with them?
I don't know of Bergen County, but I know other Bergen County school districts that have looked into, have provided, or looking to provide training on diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you.
But not every school district has been cited for disproportionality.
Understood.
Thank you so much for the information that everyone has given. I'm a little disappointed that this is the first time that I'm hearing about this. I haven't missed any board meetings, and I read all the emails that come through, and I haven't seen anything on this. So when I saw it on the agenda, I quickly read the gentleman's book as best I could. It sparked some concern. I understand more with this conversation, but I think if we would have had this conversation before this all happened, I think that it would have been a little bit better. So I'm not sure when the committee met, how they met, why the update wasn't given, the so forth and so on that made it that way. No, I did not get, there was not, at no meeting that I was at, and we'll go back and watch the tapes, did it say that we were cited. What meeting was that cited at?
I don't know what meeting that was cited. I'll look for it, but I know in the last two weeks of updates, they were on the updates. The last 2 updates that were sent to every board member.
I was talking about the committee before.
Oh, sorry.
The committee met in July. It met in July, the committee, correct?
We met in February, and the update was emailed to all the committee members, as well as uploaded into the folder. That said that we were not in compliance. Okay. I believe it's February 1st or February 28th. But as long as that's not in compliance. Yeah, I just want to be clear that this project started before I even got on the board, 2023. Mr. Knight can speak to it better probably than I can. It started while he was the chair. Yeah, I'm not blaming anyone for this happening, like that's sitting on the board. I'm just saying that when I heard the committee update, I think that we all try to give a good update when we give one, and I didn't hear it, and I'm sorry that I missed that we were cited for something very bad, and now we have to pay tons of money.
Well, it's not really very bad.
It's an investment. I want to be clear. This is an investment in our children and in education. I do not believe that this is an expense. We had a presentation given to us earlier in the year on the graduation proficiency among our 11th graders. And there was a 15-point gap among our Hispanic students compared to our other groups. The need to uplift students and invest in students is paramount, and it's not an expense, it is an investment. No, but it should never happen in the first place. Everyone should always be treated equally from the get-go, and everyone should be uplifted. From the way I was raised, it doesn't matter what, I don't care what anyone from any demographic, any color, every shape, every form, every fashion, I was taught to love, be kind, and to give. So that should have never happened in the first place. Thank you. I hope you will support 5CUR tonight.
So our district had an equity audit done prior to Dr. Kravitz's arrival here. The equity audit was done by Montclair State University. It's maybe 10 pages. In that report, which predates Dr. Kravitz coming here, one of the points that was raised and identified was disproportionality. This should, I mean, I got the equity audit. We talked about the equity audit, what all the money and time that we've been putting into the program, the MTSS tiered program is as a result of our equity audit. It was one of the things that they suggested. So we've known for a while about disproportionality. I mean, we secured an audit, and so, I mean, maybe it was before you came on the board, but there's a document written and it identifies like 10 different things. And we've been trying to chip away at each of the items. For me, it's the cost which we have to spend certain monies. It is an expense. It's an expense, but we're falling into an area that needs attention. It's still money, and it's still money that could have gone somewhere else if we didn't find us faced with the statistic. I just question whether this particular, it seems like the Department of Education is highly recommending this particular individual. I'm just not sure, you know, I'm gonna have to rely on your expertise on this, that there's nothing better out there for this money that would address our unique particular situation. I understand that he's being recommended, but like Diane acknowledged, we don't know if there's another district in Bergen County that has disproportionality with its Hispanic population on the SLD. So I don't know, maybe he's a one size fits all. I would think our issue is unique and that we could find someone that has deep experience in IR&S or IS&R with Hispanic and what's happening in our district. He seems to be kind of a, you know, well-known speaker out of Rutgers who has his own ideology, and I don't see it connecting, you know, to the Hispanic issue that we're uniquely facing. So that's my only concern.
Just to Tanya, to your point, the committee reports, it's February 1st that Amy reported on. It's in the, there's like 6 copies of the same report. I don't know why in there. There's nothing from any years prior on equity reports. So that's the first one I can see in the drive. And then if you Google him, Dr. Fergus from Rutgers, it comes up, School of Arts and Sciences. It specifically mentions specific focus on Black and Latino academic and social engagement outcomes, disproportionality in special education and suspensions and school climate conditions. So he definitely focuses on the community that you're talking about. Somebody else had a question or comment? Okay.
Can I just share some good news on athletics?
Sure.
Great, thank you. So I have an update on the cross country.
Make sure your mic's on so people at home can hear you.
I do have an update, Dr. Kravitz, on the boys cross country meet today. They won the league championship. So
Nice.
We also want to wish the girls varsity tennis team best of luck there. Going into round 2 of the state tournament versus Wayne Hills tomorrow. Also want to give a shout out to the middle school cross country team. We don't often talk about their middle school teams, but they have had an outstanding season so far, thanks to the dedication and effort from all athletes. Their most recent meet, 8 girls and 3 boys placed in the top 10 overall. Way to go, girls and boys, out of 7 competing schools, with Sarah, Kiara, and Maria sweeping the podium in first, second, and third. So great job. The success is a testament to the team's hard work and relentless training, making this their most successful season yet. Beyond their athletic accomplishments, the team has also showed remarkable sportsmanship, supporting their teammates and runners from other schools and embodying the true spirit of competition. As a former runner myself, that is the way to do it. And I congratulate Coach Madison, I believe is the coach of the school. So way to go on training this team. I also want to give a big round of applause to Jalen Valbuena for leading the state, not the county, but the state in receiving yards this year. So way to go, teams. And we do want to wish Luke Senator a speedy recovery as well. He was injured at the game on Friday. He was on pace to break the school record in passing yards this year. So wishing a speedy recovery and hope to see him back in the field next week. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
I'd just like to let everyone know that the Fort Lee High School Marching Band Boosters are announcing that the sale of tickets for the MetLife Stadium performance that our band is going to be in this Saturday on the 12th. Tickets are $37, which is a pretty good deal. It's for all day access from 9 to 11, and a portion of the proceeds are going to go to support the band. So if you're interested in purchasing tickets, you can do so by going to Fort Lee Band Boosters at gmail.com. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Motion Colback, second Morel, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, we will hear first from members of the public that are physically located in the cafetorium tonight. Then we will take questions and comments from those participating remotely. Everyone is limited to 3 minutes in which to make their statement. For remote participants, please select the raise hand button. Mr. Ruggiero will recognize each community member in the order of raised hands. Please unmute your microphone, then state your name and home address for the record and begin your comments. Please limit your comment to 3 minutes. Mr. Gosselin?
Hello, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Keith Gosselin, 2185 Lemoyne Avenue. I have a few things to bring up. I know you brought up the meeting already, but Andrew still wants me to do it. I thought I was going to do it. So we're doing the CPAC meeting October 16th, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Flyer will be up tomorrow.
Flyers going up tomorrow, Andrew, so you'll be very happy. You just took Andrew's question away. And then welcome to Monica. I believe today was her first day, so we're looking forward to working with her. Couple of questions, I guess, for Dr. Kravitz. I believe we have 2 BCBAs in town. Can you tell us how those BCBAs, like how many we have, are we short, and stuff like that? So that's one question. And I asked the last time I was here about bus tracking. I was wondering if there was an update on that.
Is that it?
Yes, that's all my questions.
Dr. Kravitz, before you answer, just want to get clarification on the next meeting. I've written down the 17th.
So there was,
Yeah, that's our fault. It's the 16th,
Okay, all right.
but the 17th is like a zombie. It's not going away.
All right, so October 6th.
At 7 p.m.
16th, Wednesday.
so to answer the first question, BCBAs, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I will shoot you an email in about a couple hours. As far as the tracking, so we have the program, we just haven't gone live with it yet, but we are working on it because it's part of our whole Transfinder program that I mentioned at the last meeting. So we're still working on some of the distances, but we should have it hopefully for a sample in the spring, and then go from there and be fully implemented by next year. But we'd like to sample it at the end of this year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So just
name and address for the record.
Catherine Conrad, 1565 Anderson Avenue. I just want to give a little shout out to the curriculum or the professional development that you all are arguing over. Considering we're talking about a disproportionate group of students, I heard Hispanic problem, Hispanic issue. That's kind of why we need those sorts of professional development, because we don't have a Hispanic problem. We don't have a Hispanic issue. We have a group of students that need help. And so we should invest, as Ms. Cotain has said, in that. But I'm really rightfully here because you've all received an email, particularly for Mr. Knight. I am offended and I'm appalled. You've all received it.
Excuse me, can you just address your
Oh, no,
comment?
I'm not addressing him. I'm actually going to just read as a public record. I'm not addressing anyone. But I'm reading a letter to which you all have received. Is that fine? That's not calling out. I'm not addressing anyone specifically. Dear board members, although I initially indicated I only included Dr. Kravitz and the president of the board in my correspondence, I believe it is very important to share the following with all of you for the good of our community. I am appalled by Mr. Knight's recent comments, which he carelessly penned, which are now spreading across social media. His remarks are the complete opposite of what we expect from anyone in an elected position. The fact that he expressed indifference to the Bible being defiled, or in his own words, pissed on, raises serious questions. Is this the sentiment shared for the rest of you? Is this the kind of rhetoric you find acceptable for a member of our board? If a student had made such comments, they would face severe consequences, potentially even being expelled due to the nature of hate speech, because it is hate speech. This double standard is unacceptable, and we must hold our elected officials to a higher standard of accountability and respect. And I ask each of you to rebuke Mr. Knight's commentary, please reiterate to him that hate speech is not tolerated ever, under any circumstances. Thank you.
We just allowed someone to personally.
Yeah.
What would mean?
I didn't personally attack it, I read it, you know.
Okay, that's fine.
I just would like,
board members, this is public comment. You've all been on the board. The public can speak, they can say things, they can comment to or about things board members say or post, etc. Nothing was out of the ordinary. There was one word that was used, but in 2024, that word probably isn't that offensive in some respects. But Madam Chair, Mr. Knight can respond if he wants to.
so I just want to say, the item that you're referring to, was part of a private message, that has been taken completely out of context. I would advise anyone who's concerned. I'm not responding to her.
No, I'm not cutting you off. Ma'am, under the Open Public Meetings Act, you as a
My
member,
3 minutes up, I'm just gonna ask.
whether it's up or not, you conceded it by saying that. You don't get a chance to go back and forth. You made your comments, you asked your questions, board members have a right to respond. Thank you.
All right, so I just want to, once again, the item that you're referring to, was a very small part of a private message that was sent to an individual who is upset with me because, I kicked her out of my group for, Asian bias, essentially. So that's, I would welcome anyone who's concerned about this to approach the person, that gave you this and ask them to share the rest of the conversation with you. Because the conversation was actually me sticking up for Christians who were offended by the Olympics. So once you see the entire conversation, I think it'll be clear what my sentiments were. Again, I also don't think it's appropriate to share private messages with people when there's the expectation of privacy. But again, I think I'd just like to close by saying, if anyone's concerned about this, you can absolutely reach out to me. I will share the conversation with you. And if you have a relationship with this other person, I would encourage you to reach out to her and ask her to share the rest of the conversation instead of a 2 or 3 sentence portion of it. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public have comments? Okay, Mr. Ruggiero, you're up.
Mihail, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Mihail?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool. So I'm looking at the 5 CUR topic and I'm looking over the proposal that costs $43,000 and I'm looking at anticipated outcomes. So it reads, participants will develop an equity literacy lens to help them identify and interact practices in at least one area, curriculum, discipline, gifted, advanced placement, honors, or special education academic intervention that leads to unequitable outcomes. So, with this in mind, I have a question. How would this play out with, let's say, my case, where my kid is special ed and he's in the class that still doesn't have a teacher since the beginning of the school year? His class is mixed. He has special ed Hispanic kids, he has special ed Black kids, he has special ed Asian kids, and so on. There's a mix of kids over there. So in this class, what this gentleman proposes, how would that play out? Would you, I don't know, would you take the special ed kids that are a certain type and give them extra tutoring? Or let's say, are you gonna kneecap the advanced placement kids so they would be in an unequitable outcome situation compared to the special ed kids? Just a question. So with that in mind, what I'm thinking is, I don't think it's fair to parents like me that have kids in the district that still don't have a teacher in the classroom, to not be considered for just having like a regular teacher. It's like, and the district is looking to spend the money, which almost matches a teacher's salary, on classes like this that I'm not certain what they would actually bring for the kids. I hope that the district will reconsider and potentially find another source of curriculum that's cheaper and maybe in accordance with the state requirements rather than spending this much money. Uh, as I said, I don't think it's gonna help in particular any group of people, given the fact that our biggest concern right now is not having teachers. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. This is, as mentioned before, this is helping us to address the intervention and referral services, specifically how we identify students, and looking at it from different lenses when we're looking at their outcomes. The curriculum is, curriculum is a guide of what state standards we have to teach, but making sure that children, when they're referred or attempted to refer, are recommended with different opportunities instead of just saying this is a one-size-fit-all. We are a diverse community. We want to make sure that all of our team members in our INRS procedures, in our INRS teams, are aware of the diverse community, the most diverse cultures all our children come out of, that how you adapt and what you're looking for in helping all of our children succeed. Thank you.
Josefa, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Hey, how are you? Hi, how are you? Josefa Sion Santana, 2465 Camner. I have two questions actually. One of them, I would think with the program that you guys are speaking about, you probably have a grant, right? That was given to you guys. So it's not money that you're spending completely out of budget, right? I would think that's what's going on. It's a grant that was in order for you guys to spend this. The other thing that I'm having a hard time understanding is we really don't, there's a teacher convention, right? How many teachers actually go to get extra education? You know, I worked always in the corporate world where everything has always been, you know, to make sure that we give people the tools that they need to be successful. And anytime anything comes up in this district where we need to give something to a teacher to do better by their kids, it is always an issue. It's like people feel it's coming out of their pocket. Teachers need the tools they need to succeed. They need to be given education. It completely changes. A teacher who was a teacher 40 or 50 years ago is not a teacher today with the amount of technology that they use, the amount of different, situations that they're in, whether, kids are now, with technology on their phone. It's a different type of student. You need to understand. I mean, even for me, my own personal, I remember sending a documentation about the alpha generation based on a study that my company did to a teacher that my son was having an issue when he was in 6th grade, because I was like, you're teaching old school. You're not understanding this generation. And I don't understand why we're so against giving teachers the tools they need to be successful. So I'll leave that. I'm for the program. I think that we need to, and then I want to address the gentleman that actually spoke before. I think it's horrible he doesn't have a teacher. It is a very simple solution. I set this up when I was at Univision many years ago. We have top New Jersey colleges and universities that have education programs where teachers graduate from college. Why are we not talking to those universities and setting up a program so then you can come and apply and be a school teacher, whether they do their internship here, at Fort Lee, and they do something in order to get those credits. I did that program when I worked in Univision for an entertainment industry. And I also helped do it at NBC Universal. I don't understand. It is super easy to put into play. You just have to have the conversations with the universities. You're getting people who are graduating. They're going to have jobs, right? And you're getting people who actually are equipped in the sense because they're getting fresh knowledge and education that actually deals with the generation that's coming now. Corporate does it all the time. It is not the first time to do this. Why aren't we doing this? And please don't let any board member that's running take my thing unless it's somebody that I'm supporting because I've been saying this for a long time. It's an easy fix. And I'll leave that at.
So thank you for your comment. As far as the classroom, there is a substitute teacher in that classroom. The teacher will be returning, I believe within a month. So there is a substitute teacher and there is teaching going on in that particular classroom. That's what's being shared with me. As far as teacher, we have an agreement with William Patterson University where our students are getting trained. We have 40 students in our teaching academy as they go through our system that they will gain credits in the teaching program at William Patterson. I believe we have 2 or 3 student teachers from Fairleigh Dickinson who are coming online as well this year. And we do work with Fairleigh Dickinson. We do contact with Rutgers. We do contact with William Patterson, St. Peter's. We are absolutely open to all the ideas and working with them, reaching out to them. There is a huge shortage of teachers. If you just read about it everywhere, I believe in the state it's over 2,000 or 3,000 teachers. So we are trying. We are highly competitive with our salaries. As I mentioned, one of the problems that currently exist is when we are looking for leave replacements. So a teacher who's only going to be out for 2 or 3 months, someone would rather get a full-time position somewhere. So if they said, yes, I'll work in Fort Lee, and they sign up for September, and then let's say Cliffside Park offers them a job permanent, they'll jump to that one right away, and they only have, just a 1 month notice and they're done. And then we're back at ground zero. So that's very difficult as we have more and more leave replacements, which are allowed by law. So thank you.
Tahe Sarah Kesha, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, good evening. My name is Saya Chesia. I'm at 484 Main Street, Fort Lee, New Jersey. A few issues that I wanted to raise is that I heard last time, if I'm not sure though, the fixing of the playground at public school number 1 would take like a year. It should be like a month. I need Mr. Kravitz to intervene, not to take more than a month. And I need like an answer, what he can do to make that happen. Number 2, before we start the Zoom meeting, Mr. Ruggiero, if you can just remind us to raise our hands, because I was there last time and I thought I raised my hand and I didn't. Also, I don't know if you can help. The voice comes muffled from the board members, but the voice comes very clear from the parents when they talk here. So I don't know if there is something you can do or someone else can do, but please try to fix it because when the board members talk, it's kind of muffled. As far as I heard that Mr. Knight, someone is saying that he's being divisive. I have known Mr. Casey Knight, and as far as I know him, he has never made any comments against any Latinos or anyone else. He's been nothing but trying to unify people. So I don't know who is inspiring all of this whispering against him. Now, I've heard from parents, it's another issue. Some parents are saying that there are children that do not pertain to Fort Lee, but they are going to high school and they're going to other schools. We as taxpayers, we want the Fort Lee children to come first or Fort Lee students to come first. And we demand to have a 5 to 1 teacher and 5 children. As far as for the other children, we encourage everyone to study in their districts. I also heard that there is 1 child registered in 2-3 schools. So these issues have to be inspected and double checked. We don't want that to happen anymore. Another thing that I wanted to mention, we do not want the picture day, the ID. Yes, we agree for every child to have their ID, but then the picture day here and the picture day there, we don't want that. It's just too much. The other thing, agendas and other topics must be given on the screens on the Zoom as well, with description of them instead of just email and giving us the link. If you could just give us bullet points and then please highlight them in yellow. I thank you very much for your attention, and that's all I had to say. And out here, Mr. Kravitz, please allow a moment till I get back to the Queenie so I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. In 1 moment, and I'll take a pause, reset my clock, and just answer the question about, so the playgrounds, we are looking into the playgrounds. We met with the PTA, the School 1 PTA. We have several quotes that we have suggested to them. We met with the principal, so we will be determining our budget for the next week or 2. We were told it's about 5 weeks for delivery. We have to make sure that when we are purchasing a playground, it is compliant with all of the state requirements for the age groups. So that's one of the things we have to be cognizant of. That may be different than going to a Walmart and just buying a playground. We have to actually make sure it's installed properly, it's checked. If there has to be a footing, laid with the concrete, we're making sure everything is safe for our children. That's our priority. As far as pictures, we do take pictures. Any parent can have the option of opting out of any pictures. And that's on your Genesis screen when your children are registered or when you go every year. We ask you to check all that off. As far as, I catch everything? Residency. So the board is very active with residency. I know we discussed recently with our attorney new policies and procedures and regulations and making sure that the students are here. Just for clarification, we do have a residency officer who goes out and checks homes and makes sure that people are living there. And we do that regularly for everyone who's registered. So we are active. If we do find someone that does not live here, they come before the board. There's a process that we follow, and that's it. Any other concerns? I appreciate you calling all the time. Thanks.
Pearlie, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Pearlie?
Hi, I'm Pearlie Tan, 332 Lincoln Avenue. Have 3 items on my list. But first of all, congratulations to the high school boys varsity team. My son was very excited, and huge accomplishment to them as well as the middle school girls cross country team as well. So, which leads me to actually my first point because I think the phys ed teacher wanted me to email her about something, with regards to cross country, my son's situation, and I can't seem to find her email on the district website, which I have emailed, I think Mr. Kravitz and then the communications committee before. So there's no email addresses on the district website. It's hard to contact the teachers. There's like no title. So it's really hard to find that information. So in terms of communication, I'm unable to reach out. So I don't know if that's something that can be fixed ASAP. I know some parents have also voiced the same concern, not being able to find teachers' email addresses or contact information. So that's the first thing. Second thing is on the agenda, I noticed for district translators, there are no Chinese and Japanese translators. Last school year there is, so I'm just wondering what happened, knowing that we have a huge Chinese and Japanese community in Fort Lee. And then the third item on my list is the update on the proximity learning, which is, that bio teacher replacement. I'm glad we found sort of a solution for that. So I guess my question is the teacher, are the students going to be having online classes for the rest of the year? Because I also see that we're hiring a biology teacher that will start in December. I don't know if that's the case. So just wanted to get clarity on that. And if they're going to be, continuing with online, I just wish there was some sort of plan, to have equity between students, because then, there are kids that are just doing online. And then obviously there are other kids who are lucky enough to have a teacher and they're doing, in-person instruction. So that's just my comment.
Thank you for your questions. So as far as the translators the position is posted on our website. As we get more of our teachers who are involved, we keep adding them, and we should be adding them regularly. As far as the email, my recommendation until we get our website addressed was if you go onto your child's Genesis portal, you can see there's an email link on every one of those, and that can contact the teacher directly through that. As far as proximity learning, yes, we have on the agenda this evening a teacher. We hope within 60 days is their contractual obligation, but if we can do it sooner, or if they are released sooner, they would start sooner. The plan is not for the entire year. The plan is to bring in that teacher, and there will be an overlap to make sure there's a continuum. I know that the proximity learning individual is matching the curriculum that we use, and there have been constant check-ins from what I'm being told. I should say check-ins by the principal as well as other administrators to make sure that there's learning. And I've seen, videos and photos, and it seems to be that the children are very enthralled by it. So hopefully, by the time we get our new teacher, as the overlap, we're hoping for no blips in the system. Thank you.
Andrew, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Andrew? Andrew, you're muted.
I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So my name is Andrew Goodman, 326 Bridge Plaza North, here in Fort Lee. Just wanted to give a warm welcome to the new Director of Special Services, Monica. We're really excited to be working with her. As Keith mentioned earlier, we have a meeting next week, so we encourage everyone to please come. We have a very, very heavy agenda for that meeting, so we look forward to seeing everyone. I have a question. The Fortress program, which is the 18 to 21-year-old program, I've been seeing it referred to as School 2 Annex sometimes. I was just curious why. Is that because of funding issues, or has it like PTAs and stuff like that?
Any other questions, Mr. Goodman? Okay, the school number 2 annex, the reason why it is named currently at that is because it is an annex for the school based on the preschool. So when we offer a preschool, because we have to have areas for disabilities, students who are disabled, school 2 is the largest number of preschool students. So therefore it falls under a preschool. So therefore it's called school number 2 annex. The 18 to 21-year-old program sits in that school, which is the annex of school 2, if that makes sense. So as an example, if you're a child bound by a wheelchair, school number 2 has in preschool an elevator. It's elevator accessible for students. Therefore, if a child comes in and says, I want to go to preschool who is disabled, we can give them the opportunity in either school 2, and at the same time, we have that preschool program in the annex. That makes any sense, kind of what I'm saying. They are the same program. And the 18 to 21 program, the Fortress, the name of the Fortress was actually created by Ms. Healy and Mr. Goldrich, who are doing a fantastic job there. I want to give them a shout out. It's a fantastic program. We did have an open house. So, and they created the name, and I believe some students helped, and they have T-shirts, and it's very cool. So kudos to them for making it happen, and great stuff, and really great place.
Yes, thank you very much. Excellent program. Thank you.
There are no more raised hands.
Thank you. May I have a motion to close the floor to the public? Motion. Motion, Kovacs, second, Rubino, all in favor? Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, moving on to resolutions. May I have a motion to approve items 1B?
Before we go to that, I have a question I didn't get, forgot to ask about an agenda item. Can I ask that now, or is it too late?
Yeah, is it for 1B through?
It's for,
That's where you can go.
it's for 7F.
Okay, so we'll talk about it when we get to the F. Okay. All right, so a motion to approve items 1B through walk-in resolutions 6B and 7B.
Motion.
Motion Morel, second Rubino, roll call please.
Ms. Barkang,
Yes.
Ms. Colbath,
Yes.
Ms.
I know
Curry,
there's a raised hand up there, but.
We already moved on.
let's keep going.
Yeah.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight, Ms. Kotang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
and Ms. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1 CUR through 7 CUR?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Kolbach, second Morel, roll call please.
Ms. Barkang,
Yes.
Ms. Colbath,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight,
Yes.
Ms. Kotang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes, but I'm gonna abstain on 5CUR.
Ms. Richter.
Yes.
Noted. Thank you.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve items 1F through 17F, and then Ms. Kotang will ask her question. Wait until the motion in a second, please.
Motion.
Okay, motion Colbath, second Morel. Questions, Ms. Kotang?
Yeah, on 7F, we currently have 3 buses that we contract out, or 3 lines that we contract out to this company. And on the contract, it shows that we are renting 354 seaters. I understand that we only have less than 10 kids at each of these schools that we're sending kids to. If you can verify that's true, I've been told that that's the case. Why do we need a 54 seater?
I don't have the answer to that. I don't know. I will get you an answer as soon as we can.
Can we table that for tonight until we have some clarity?
It was hard to read because
It's sideways.
it was sideways, so it was very difficult to follow along. I make more than another contract.
7F.
I just ask, I guess, Dr. Kravitz, looking at 7F, the effective period essentially is retroactive to September 1,
Right, that's why
24 through June 30, 25. So presumptively, this service is already in effect.
correct. I don't know.
Tabling it, subject to, I guess, representation based upon your knowledge that it won't interfere with any services to current students that may not be a problem. And then perhaps you can talk to the vendor as to whether there are smaller vehicles available. And if so, if the price will, I guess, change accordingly. It appears Northern Region Education Services Commission, they're likely exempt from public bidding and or an approved vendor for this service anyway. So if someone want to table it, it affects someone in school tomorrow.
Right, so I don't know the answer to the question, and that's why we're trying to figure out if that affects our services. That's what I leaned over and asked Mr. Steinmetz right now.
I don't know. The motion is more of a ceremonious motion to approve the. Hear me now? This motion is more of a ceremonious motion for the services. We will verify if we can consolidate the busing.
Thank you.
Okay.
I know you just started, but why would we have been presented with the contract before we, jumped in and committed ourselves to these larger buses?
Well,
I don't expect you to.
no, I mean,
Been here 3
I'll be
days.
honest with you, like, I would do this in the springtime, this ceremonious motion, and then get the busing, so you wouldn't have the bigger size busing. That's what I would try to do.
Great,
Okay.
I look forward to it.
That's all right.
Okay, so we have a motion to,
Good try.
a motion from Ms. Colbath and a second by Ms. Morel, I believe it was.
Are we tabling that?
So I'm trying to get in contact with the busing coordinator right now.
So again, I'll just say, presumptively, again, since this goes back to September, by taking no action, presumptively the administration will continue utilizing the good of the service, so there shouldn't be any disruption. As long as the board understands that if you see this bus driving up the street tomorrow, you don't think that tabling it stopped the service. That's all. So if you're okay with that, just table it and come back next month.
So 1F through 6F?
So if it's without any objection, whoever moved in second, are you okay amending the motion to remove with the 7?
Yeah, it was
Seven.
Paula and Howard.
I'm fine with removing 7F,
Okay.
tabling it.
Well, if they remove it, you don't have to table it. If you want to formally table it, then you need a separate motion and roll call to table.
Whatever is simplest.
So Dr. Krabs, you okay withdrawing that recommendation for tonight?
That's fine.
Okay, so
Okay.
amend the motion to, that one is removed, you'll revisit it later on.
Okay, so the
Whatever
motion,
he just said.
yeah, the motion that you, made was for 1F through 6F and then 8F through 17. Okay, so roll call, please.
Ms. Byers King? Ms. Colbath?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Ms. Kotang?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Ms. Morel?
Yes.
Mr. Rubino?
Yes.
Ms. Richter?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1P through 19P?
Motion. Second.
Motion Morel, second Colbath, roll call, please.
Ms. Byers King?
Yes.
Ms. Colbath?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Ms. Kotang?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Ms. Morel?
Yes.
Mr. Rubino?
Yes.
Ms. Richter?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve item 1POL?
Motion. Second.
Motion Colbath, second Morel, roll call, please.
Ms. Byers King?
Yes.
Byers King, I'm sorry, Ms. Byers King, I apologize. I was trying to rush it. Ms. Colbath?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Ms. Kotang?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Ms. Morel?
Yes.
Mr. Rubino?
Yeah.
Ms. Richter?
Yes. Okay, so I know old business, we've been beating this dead horse, goals. I know I sent the email after the last meeting with the ones everyone had sent me. I did not hear any responses other than you could see the email that I sent. So, does anyone have anything to chime in about that? I mean, we need to get these going at some point because that's how we evaluate Dr. Kravitz. So we need goals at some point. This is our only October meeting. Are we making a commitment that November meeting is when we are talking about it? Or, I mean, we have to be standing and packed up and ready to go, so.
November. I'm happy to do it right now.
Okay. Everyone ready to do it now, or do we want to do it the next meeting? All right.
Can I just ask you one
Yeah.
question? Because I actually did print your two things.
No.
So there was one page that had board goals and then district goals.
So that's the stuff that Dr. Kravitz handed out at the last meeting. The
So-
email that I sent was,
So-
no, that was
So I-
suggestions.
I presented, I went back because I know there was some confusion about goals. So I presented board goals and district goals that were actually
All right,
since
got you.
2019 and 18, and I thought that they could be appropriate as well.
Okay.
So I said, why don't we just use those goals to make them appropriate?
So they were, okay.
So that was an addition.
So,
That was the original list that I gave you, like the menu items that Matt Lee has suggested, the one that's in your left hand of
so
the
if you're
17
recommending
goals.
these, is there a reason that we should just have a quick discussion and approval, or?
Whatever you guys want. I know Mr. Knight sent separate goals, Ms. Byers King sent separate goals, so I just want a conversation about it. I don't want to make a unilateral decision. Go ahead.
No, I mean, disproportionality is number 2. The long-range facilities is number 1, and community engagement and leveraging district technology. I think that those are like 3 really solid, good, timely goals, so I don't know what we need to do.
But are those board goals?
So there's,
Well, the 3 board goals are successfully negotiate and sign successor agreements with our Fort Lee Education Association, work collaboratively with the district administration to develop a comprehensive 5-year strategic plan for the district with milestones identified at 1, 3, and 5-year intervals, and plan and participate in a board retreat to strengthen board skills and processes. So, I mean, if it takes a motion, I'm happy to make a motion that we approve these.
I also do think that we should add a piece on communication in there. I also.
Ironic.
You're standing twice. I think we should add communication in there as one of our goals as well, or it's important or just to go, I think it's important to come up anytime.
But how do you, like, what kind of, more specific on communication?
Exactly, so that's what I highlighted here on the sheet that was sent. It just says communication bullet point. I think that we should flesh out more thoughtful conversation around this so that we can all feel comfortable on what that communication looks like.
Okay. All right, so we can work
We
on,
added 4, communication.
and we can work on specifying that.
Board members of the administration.
Yeah, because I know Amy had suggested also that among board, like a kind of like a buddy or a mentor for new board members when they come on, because some people are completely, don't know where to find anything in the drive or anything like that when they come on. So that could even fall under communication. So do you want, okay, so we'll add communication to the list, get more specific in that, and for the November meeting, have them set, and I'll distribute all of that to all of you.
I agree.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would suggest maybe instead of the board retreat, replacing that with just more of a focus towards getting our math scores up. I think that's a different ceremony for me. So I think I'd like to come up with a plan to make that happen. To me, that would be more important to me than a board retreat.
Is that more? I think
District
they're
goal.
suggesting a board goal, and that could be added as a district goal.
Yeah, correct.
So really, we're gonna kick this to another meeting.
Well, I mean, unless you want to come up with the wording on communication right now.
Communication between and among BOE members and the administration,
Okay.
including.
Is that what you mean, Doug, or do you?
Establishing a new member buddy program.
Okay.
In my mind, it's also the building principals communication to parents. So it's more than just us and the public and us and the district administration, but also at the parent level with the building.
That could be more of a PT for the administrators, no?
Yeah. With the district, how quickly are we gonna respond? I think that, those are things that we should be putting out there so that, parents understand what the expectation is.
So just, generally speaking, governance 101, for school board members, you are, I'll say the what, so to speak, and the administration is the how. And so to the extent that you want to establish a goal, which is a board goal, to enhance communication by between yourselves as board members from a governance standpoint, by between you and the administration, again, governance, and by extension with the broader community, that level becomes more of a district and superintendent goal to kind of flesh out. So I think it's valid to do, but just managing expectations, you wouldn't be doing it per se. That would fall within the responsibility of Dr. Kravitz and his team.
But could a district goal be, right now, number 3 is leverage district technology and other appropriate resources to increase community engagement? Couldn't we expand that to increase community, parent, principal, etc., engagement? So that's a district goal that we expect that the administration is going to increase.
I heard Mr. Knight, I think, say stakeholder. So strike principal and put stakeholder. I think you got a home run there.
Right, and actually, one of the things that was on the agenda this evening was the social media club, which we talked about in the public relations committee. That's part of that. So each building will be working with some students to work on their websites and getting the message out using multiple platforms to focus on that communication.
Okay. Is everyone okay with everything?
Revise and bring it next time. I don't care.
You sure? Okay.
If they don't want to vote.
I just have one last comment to respond to Mr. Kravitz, your suggestion of using Genesis to contact teachers. So within Genesis, I couldn't find it. Tanya had to show me how to find it. It's under Gradebook. And under Gradebook, you have the email of the teachers. So in my kid's case, all the teachers that they have in the middle school. However, your child's teacher is not on this list. For example, they're in an after-school club, which is why I had to look up the contact initially. There's no way to get that contact. And yes, I can call the school to get it, but we have many parents in our district who do not speak English. So to have access for them readily available on a website is paramount.
Can't you change the language on the website?
Yes.
So yes, you can change the language on the website. I know.
I'm talking about email, just email, for them to email the kids' teacher.
So there are some pictures, it has to be cleaned up, and as we're working at all of that, that's why in each building, we're trying to create the social media club to help assist with that. It's a lot of, for a district-wide initiative, to make sure that everything's being operating.
Why did it break?
I don't know. Don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Can we fix it within the next week or so? Because this is, when we talk about communications, parents can't even email their teachers without going into Genesis or calling a building. It is a priority, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong. We had these information available, but was taken off and replaced with nothing.
So I will make it a priority tomorrow to act upon the request.
Yeah, I think we always have the email addresses on the website.
And then, I'm looking now. I thought they were always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diane said she thought they were always there.
I thought it was there, so when a parent said to me, I didn't respond, because I'm thinking, it's enough, email is enough. But then I realized when I went to look for it, email went there.
Is there any new business besides that?
I'd like to, so, we keep talking about the teacher shortage, and I think, one of the.
Can you just talk into the mic so people at home can hear you?
Yeah, so we keep talking about the teacher shortage, and I think one of the parents had a really great idea about developing relationships and reports with some of the teaching colleges and stuff. We do that in my business when we're replacing teachers elsewhere, so I think that's a great idea. Also wanted to mention, there is a Grow Your Own program that the Teachers Association, I believe, has, where they identify children at a very young age, like 5th or 6th grade. They identify children that could potentially be good leaders and good potential teachers in the future. And they put them in clubs and they send them, and this is all like a structured thing that we can subscribe to. But they send them out to teach younger kids. There's a lot of programs that teach them about teaching, about the benefits of teaching, and about community service in general. And then as these kids get older, I think it would be possible for us to transition them into maybe teaching roles. Maybe we could even help finance their education in some way. But I think this could be a good way of addressing the teacher shortage. So I just wanted to bring that up as something that we could potentially talk about.
We do
Not
have the
tonight.
Future Teachers of America
So
Club.
we do have Future Teachers of America who go to the individual class, the buildings. And like I said before, we have about 40 students in our teacher prep program with William Patterson.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, we have all that.
I was just gonna say, that we do already have something in place.
Yes, we have 40 students in that teachers program that we help finance
Have been
actually.
successful? Have we gotten teachers from it?
Well, no,
It's
this is year 2,
Oh.
year 2 or 3, I think where we're at. I started when I got here. So the dean actually was here, for those of you who remember, the dean of the college came, William Patterson University, was very active and happy that this was their first venture into that program. So it has grown from, I think, 10 to now 40. They're in their sophomore, junior year. They get college credit that we're paying for. So they will graduate from Fort Lee High School with approximately 30 to 50 credits, somewhere depending on how we figure that out. And then they can go right in to William Patterson. They will work with us for acceptance. And what our biggest thing, which we were looking forward to, is once they leave here, they can actually be substitutes. So if they're commuter students to William Patterson, they can actually just stay here, commute, and if they get lucky enough to have 1 or 2 days of school and the rest, we'd like to hire them. Yep.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion Rubino, second Colbath, all in favor? Any opposed? Want to stay longer? Okay, thank you for coming.
So